Find something that you love doing. See if you can work in that area. Find a tribe. Find people who you resonate with, who are in the industry, you can connect with, and ask them, basically. Think about what it is. What are your values? What are your needs? Because our needs change as well. Take it from me at my age, nearly 66.
All right, welcome back to the PPC Mastery Podcast and the second episode of this new segment called the PPC Spotlight. So once again, I'm doing this segment because in the PPC Hub, we have thousands of Google Ads specialists who are all doing fantastic things, sharing case studies, helping other people, growing their clients, growing as Google Ads specialists, as freelancers, or people working in-house. And I think with this segment, I want to shine the light, give the spotlight to our awesome members and share the stories that are worth sharing. So today I have Sandi Walsh, or actually Sandra, but you go by Sandi in the PPC Hub. Sandi is someone who has been with us for, I guess, a little bit over a year now, maybe a little bit shorter, somewhere around that time, a year. And Sandi is someone who is constantly challenging herself, reinventing herself, and has an interesting story to tell, going from a nurse and a midwife to reinventing herself as a digital marketer at the late end of her career. So without any further ado, before I tell your story, Sandi, welcome to the PPC Mastery Podcast. And if you could maybe tell us who you are, what types of clients you work with, and how you ended up from a nurse and a midwife to working in digital marketing as a Google Ads specialist. And then from there, we'll go into your recent journeys of becoming a freelancer. And fun fact, Sandi is living on a boat right now. So that's something that I would love to hear about as well. But let's begin with, who are you, Sandi? What types of clients do you work with? And how did you end up as a digital marketer after being a nurse and a midwife for so long?
Cool. Gosh. So many questions.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. The Sandi bit is when I joined the agency I used to work with. There was another consultant called Sandra, and the director's stepmother was called Sandra. So I couldn't be called Sandra, so I became Sandi. So all my clients know me as Sandi. So it gets a bit confusing. And I quite like Sandi because that was my Kiwi name as well many years ago.
Oh. Right.
So yeah, it's cool. So how did I go from a nursing? So nursing, I nursed. Oh gosh, so many years ago. Nursing, not since the late 80s. And then I started midwifery training. I was a midwife for 25 years in all sorts of different guises, and most latterly recruitment and retention. So I did a lot of recruitment and retention work. I really found that interesting. I did a lot of project management work as well. Worked in New Zealand, did quality in education, and then met my husband, third time lucky husband, who's a Kiwi, and he wanted to live on a narrowboat. Very strange. So the people in New Zealand at the maternity unit thought, yay, Sandra's found a Kiwi husband. She's going to stay forever. Barry wanted to live on a narrowboat in the UK. So yeah, weird, eh? So we did 2 6-month journeys on another boat. Because Barry could only stay for 6 months at a time, being a New Zealander. And during that time, I'd wanted to sort of leave midwifery for a while, looking at different things. And I'd looked at life coaching some years before. My 2 children were grown up and I was looking at different things. So I retrained as a life coach over a couple of years, and we planned to come over, buy the boat, live on it. I was going to do coaching. My husband sold all you need to make your own homebrew on the boat. So it was called the Homebrew Boat.
Nice.
So I set up as a coach. I left the health service, was doing life coaching. I also trained as a face painter, and I did face painting at canal side events. So both of those things involved website building, social media, marketing. And I remember somebody called Tim Branson, who's a great coach, saying that you can be the best coach in the world, but if you can't market, you won't get anywhere.
Yeah.
If you're the best marketer in the world and a crap coach, you'll still go far. Yeah. So that always stuck with me. And the hours and hours of marketing, not necessarily the face-to-face. Anyway, after some years of traveling around the canal festivals, things didn't work so well, very seasonal. And a fellow trader started working in the digital marketing world through somebody else who was the director of AdExtra, who set up AdExtra to make money to climb Everest. That's a completely different tangent. Oh. And he did. And so I said, is he looking for anybody else? And so I contacted Dom, and he was just about to climb Everest. So he said, well, yeah, I'd love to take you on, but as I'm about to climb Everest and 1 in 10 people never come back, there's no point taking you on properly. So if you can do the Google Ads qualification, that dreadful one on search, knowing nothing about it whatsoever, then I can take you on and you can do some cold calling. And then if I survive Everest, then we can talk the next thing. So that was the start. Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. Okay, so then from there, how long was that ago? I think in your introduction you mentioned something.
So that was March 2018, I think it was. Right, yeah, so 7 years ago. Yeah.
So you work with, is that the agency that you work with throughout that period? Yeah.
So I was contracted in to them. So self-employed, contracted in. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Cool. So recently you started to make the transition to freelancing full time. Was that something that was on your radar all the time? Like, okay, once I have a certain level or by a certain time period, I want to start freelancing full time, or was it something that just happened?
To be fair, it was never on my radar.
Okay.
I think I liked the security of having somebody else doing all that work and having the MCC and everything else. But then more recently, the last 2 or 3 years, I think, as things have changed and grown, and it's just so much more work, I felt that I wasn't getting what I was worth from the agency. And by a year or 18 months, 2 years ago, there was only me and another consultant. And the number of clients within the company was very going down because the other consultants had left. So then I started thinking about branching out. Also, the amount of commission that I was getting was quite low, so I was feeling very undervalued. And I chatted with John, who was the other consultant, and he said, well, just get your own clients. I said, how do I do that? I'm not a freelancer. He said, yes, you are. You're a freelancer. Just do it. I'm like, okay. So I started looking into it then. Yeah. So that's about a year ago.
Right. And now you recently made the switch. Was it this month, last month?
Yeah. Well, from that and chatting with my chat GPT, who I love, which I love. Is it them, they, there? I don't know. Called Nova. I think it calls itself Nova to lots of people I've discovered from a client. But yeah, so, and because I've sort of come to the end of wanting to live on a narrowboat, which probably will be another question. Friends had made enough money doing one thing or another to buy a little house on land. So that was my challenge to ChatGPT a year ago. How can I do this? I bought and sold a number of houses, lived off the money. We've lived very differently for 12 years. Yeah. And so, savings have gone. It cost a lot to get Barry's visa and different things. And so I posted into ChatGPT. So, what are the ways I can do this? And one of the ways was ask for more commission, and that was a definite no money. I'm like, okay. So that was a start. And then in November, the business owner, Dom, messaged and said, he's a lovely, lovely man, said, I'm folding the business next year. Would you like your clients? Would you like me to hand your clients over? And I'm like, wow. Definitely. Definitely, yes. So that's when it all began in earnest. But of course, we're going away to New Zealand for 2 months, China for a couple of weeks. We were already running a calendar club store 7 days a week for 16 weeks. So a lot of work and a lot of plate spinning. So he said, it's fine, we can wait till you come back from your overseas travel.
Nice.
Yeah,
wow.
so yeah, all got sorted. When we got back, Dom wrote a standard sort of letter to all the clients. He didn't want them to get worried or anxious. So a very good letter that I just edited to each client. And yeah, most of them came over. It was good.
Yeah, but then I guess you can see that throughout that time that you work with those clients, you really did a great job for them, over-delivered, because I remember you took on the majority of those clients. You're still working with them now, right? But now from your own business, freelance business. That's awesome. And it just goes to show, like, even if you're working at an agency and you are not self-employed, well, technically you were self-employed, but you know what I mean? You can still, it's still so important to give your all to those clients, because you never know what opportunities lie on the back of those partnerships. Because if you were just like, just going with the motions and work, I have my agency clients, I'm safe right now. And then the agency, as you said, folds and closes up shop, and he asks the clients and they're like, nah, I wasn't too happy with Sandi. Then you have to start completely from scratch. But that was not the case for you. So that's awesome. So what have you learned so far, going solo and fully freelance this time? What have you learned in this period, onboarding so many clients at once and et cetera? What have you learned from that so far?
So I think one of the biggest things, I think, is building a rapport with the client from the very beginning. So that comes back to the recruitment and retention project. It comes back to the holistic life coaching. It's all about getting to know the client, finding commonalities, but also getting to know the business. So get to know the business inside out, which I think is really important. And so, I mean, half of those clients I never have calls with because they just don't want to have a call. They're quite happy. They'd never really had much to do with that extra apart from the initial inquiry. Everything was always with me. So they didn't really seem to think that it was a problem at all. So it was just for me, or the admin of changing so many things, setting up an MCC, all the administrative stuff. But yeah, chatted to the clients and they seemed fine. And I think the main thing was knowing that nothing would change, that their terms and conditions would stay the same. That their monthly payment would stay the same, that, you know, the whole, I mean, reporting hopefully was going to get better because there was a lot of standardized stuff with the agency that now I can move away from and do it better, do it how I want to do it. So one of the clients who I'd had for many years and I really liked had just sold her business the week before, and so I'd had a call with the new business owner and we just did not gel at all. So although I was gonna bring them over, in the end I thought, you don't have to do this. And so I said, I'm really sorry, but actually it's not, I don't want to work with you, because he wanted me to add a campaign that I wasn't happy with, something that Google doesn't like. So I was like, I can say no, thanks. Yeah, big red flag.
Awesome.
So it was really good.
That's the cool thing about being your own boss and deciding, because now you have the freedom to decide which clients you want to work with, and not only in terms of like work-wise or results or whatever, but also on a personal level. That's something that you don't always control when you're working at an agency. I know for a fact, because I also worked at an agency for 2.5 years. You just got to deal with the cards that you're dealt and with the clients that you're being given. But now as a freelancer, you can decide like, okay, who are the type of people, what are the type of people that I gel with, as you said, and then work with them and then have a good time. And, you know, obviously results are important, but also making sure that you're vibing on a personal level. Hey guys, real quick, if you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss anything in the future, and feel free to share with a friend, colleague, or family member, because that's the only way we can grow this show. All right, back to the show. And you mentioned that building rapport was important to you when working with your clients. Could you talk talk about that? Like, what does that mean for you? What did you do to build rapport, and how are you using that in your work?
Okay, so I mean, before taking on a client, always you have a phone call, do a fact find out about the business, what their goals are for the business, whether they've used any marketing before, but also, I ask about them. Somehow I build it into the conversation about who they are, what their values are, because that is reflected in their business and in their business goals is what they want. A bit like, you and me and your life audit, what do you want? What are you looking for the next 3 months, the next 6 months? And when I have a call with a client, those that do have calls, we chat. We just chat for the first 10 minutes or so. I've got one lovely man who is in the aged care sector, and we're similar ages. And we talked about the whole transition to what I'm doing, and he's great. And I'm like, he said, so how much longer do you think you're going to work, Sandi? And I said, I think at least another couple of years. He said, oh, that's good. We can retire together.
Nice.
So those sort of things. And, he'll talk to me about going out walking. He messaged a few years ago to say his daughter was going to New Zealand, and could I email her with some tips on, what to do in New Zealand, how to get there, all the rest of that sort of thing. So it's that sort of, the personal touch, I suppose, because it makes people feel understood and heard. I mean, obviously also about the business and Google Ads and what's working.
Yeah, of course.
It's not working, but just starting off with that.
Yeah. Do you take that? Is that part of your, I guess, obviously it's part of your personality, but do you also take that from your past experience working as a nurse and a midwife? And
definitely.
Yeah, because that is so much more social than, our computer-based work,
Yeah, definitely. And also Calendar Club. So, and this isn't a push for Calendar Club, but my husband and I, we've done it 4 times now, running a store. So it's just like a short burst of 3 or 4 months of running a store. And the customer service, it's the big thing of Calendar Club is customer service. So having that rapport with people that you've only just met, and getting them to buy things and buy more things. And
so what is that Calendar Club?
So Calendar Club, it's a worldwide organization where you're basically like a franchise, but you're self-employed again. They provide all the stuff to build a store. So you build a store in a shop or in a mall unit, and you sell calendars, diaries, mugs. We sold football merchandise as well last year. I can't bear football, but we learned a lot. We learned a lot about football over the 4 months. And you work on a commission basis. So cool. So it's good. So it's good.
So you get the inventory.
Narrowboat travelers.
Yeah, I see. Oh, that's a cool concept. So because it also helps you understand marketing and sales, because it's
absolutely
it's so direct. So then, if I understand correctly, Calendar Club, you set up shop and you choose your inventory, or it's like a certain theme?
It's all it's all set by Calendar Club. They actually have something called a planogram, and you have to build the shop to planograms. So they've learnt over the years. They've been going for 25 years now. There's 200 and something stores around the country, and they're in Australia, New Zealand, America. And so everything, you have to put it all to planograms. So again, marketing, they can see which products are going to sell the best. So you put those there, and then it's different ways of putting things out. And they restock you as well. So
that's nice. So what have you learned from that you use now, that you leverage as a Google Ads specialist or as a digital marketer?
I suppose it's looking at what your product's sales are. I don't do e-com, I do lead gen. So what it is, what is it about that business that helps them to sell? What taglines, what special offers, what is their USP? Looking at their USP, because that's the thing. A lot of companies that I work with, they'll put things out that are just generic things, and you're like, no, you need to stand out, because everybody's saying that. So what is it about you? So Calendar Club's USP is customer service. You know, that's one of their biggest things. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And people come back year after year after year, even though their calendars are more expensive than anywhere else. Generally, they come back to Calendar Club.
Yeah.
Because it makes them feel good. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I love the concept. All right. So since you recently started to freelance, what are some of the challenges that you are currently facing as a new full-time freelancer?
I think at the moment it's all the admin setup. Plus, I've got a new client, so which is great. But obviously, that's a lot of work. Yeah. One of the biggest struggles for me was knowing how to set up things like an MCC, setting up a secure email account, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And a year ago, when I was thinking about doing this, I looked into getting so I'm called Sandbar Solutions. So it's Sandra and Barry.
Nice.
And the solutions, the solutions came from the life coaching, so solutions, and my husband selling home brew kits, solutions. So for my tax return, or all these years, for the last 12 years, I've been Sandbar Solutions. So whatever comes in from that. So I looked at how to get an email address and a URL for Sandbar Solutions, and I was quite busy doing all sorts of things, and I set something up, bought something, but it was in Google Workspace. Didn't really look at it again because I wasn't taking it forward. And then a month or so later, I found this bill. I don't know, I think it was 70 quid or something. I'm like, oh my God, what's that for? And it's for Google Workspace for setting up everything. I'm like, no, I'm not doing anything. I can't afford that. No, so anyway, I cancelled it. But then when we came to actually setting things up, then I asked ChatGPT, and it said to choose a secure email server. So I chose something called Proton, set all that up while we were in New Zealand. But then, of course, I had to get it into Google. So I had to do all those workarounds because I already had a Gmail account. Oh, so complicated. Anyway, long story short, once I'd set the MCC up, I couldn't integrate any scripts or anything with the Google account and the Proton email. So I then had to set up a proper Google Workspace. And it was complicated. This is only last week. So I was like, oh my God, I've lost everything. Yeah. So I was a bit panicky, and my husband and ChatGPT were my biggest supports. It's okay, take a breath. It's okay, we'll work through this. And we have, and but little things like that I had no idea about. Yeah,
for sure, and that's, I think it's a good thing in terms of in the sense of when you're working at agency or people who work in-house, you're working under this umbrella, and it's kind of safe because you don't have to do certain things. But then once you venture out on your own, you're encountering these, like setting up MCC. It's not like super technical, but it is not something that you actually ever have to do when you're working at an agency. So you still have to figure it out. Or like, as you said, like a secure email address, like, okay, how do I do and then you go through all these things. But I think, when I did that made me relate to my clients on a deeper level, because you see like the things that they're dealing with, and you understand it better. Like, for example, my first side hustle, quote unquote, was selling pull-up bars from home. Great business idea. Not
pull-up, is that
exactly,
gym
like,
style?
Yeah, gym equipment. And I thought I was being smart because it was right around the COVID times. Everyone was working out at home. And then I ordered, I don't remember, like maybe 50 boxes or so. But these things are super heavy, like 20 kilos each. So they were shipping that to my house. And my girlfriend was definitely not happy because we were living at 48 square meters in Amsterdam at the time. So our entire apartment was full with these boxes. But what I did learn in this process is, how does fulfillment work? How does support work? As you also mentioned, how does pricing work? Profit margins, all these types of things. They helped me, even though I sold everything at a minus, so everything at a loss. I was still able to learn a lot of things that I was then able to. I think that's why we're also so vocal about irresistible offers and unit economics and those things, because we kind of seen those things for ourselves at a micro level, but then you are able to relate to your clients on a much deeper level. So I think all those challenges they're normal for freelancers, but they actually help you become a better business partner for your clients. So because you are able to relate to them much better.
Yeah, if everything went smoothly, you'd learn nothing, would you?
Yeah, exactly. So what would you say to people who are thinking about freelancing, but are not sure whether it's for them or whether it's the right time, or maybe they are not experienced enough yet in their mind? What would you say to people who are thinking about it?
I would say find a tribe, find people who you resonate with, who are in the industry, you can connect with, and ask them, basically. Like the PPC Hub, obviously. We had a consultant called Ben Turner, his name was, a couple of years ago, and I'd felt very much isolated, really. Everybody sort of worked in silos, even though we're with the agency. And Ben started talking about a mastermind group, and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know there was one. And he introduced me to 𝗵𝗑𝗧 𝗘𝗱𝗏. He does, can't remember off the top of my head, but Level Up. So Level Up, and I joined that and started. You can post in his private members Facebook group, get answers to questions, different things. So talking to Ben, talking to John, the other consultant, about what it's like to freelance, and knowing that you can do it. It's hard, isn't it? I think it depends on your life circumstances as well. Because for some people, especially if if you've got a mortgage, you've got young children, you need a regular income coming in. I definitely haven't had a regular income coming in for 12 years. So, which I did have before. So that's been quite, scary at times. So I certainly wouldn't say to do that to begin with. I was listening to one of your podcasts the other day as well about, I can't remember his name, but how he billed for like €300 for 2 months or something. And I'm like, oh my God, most people couldn't do that. So, and it's like when I was doing my life coaching training, it's like, don't just give up your day job and go straight to life coaching, because, you've got to build up your client base. So maybe, as a year ago, maybe I didn't have the mindset or the time to start building up a caseload of freelance clients and start doing that before you leave an agency. But think about what it is. What are your values? What are your needs? Because our needs change as well during our lifetime. Take it from me at my age, nearly 66.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's what I find inspiring about your story is, as you said, like you're nearly 66 and you keep challenging yourself, you keep reinventing yourself. While you could also say like, okay, now I'm in the tail end and I'm just going to ride it out. But I see you're not doing that. You're like going up again and challenging yourself once more to make the most out of it. So it's super, super inspiring for sure to see. And maybe for the junior beginner Google Ads specialist, when I started my career, I was 24-ish, maybe something like that, 23, 24, fresh out of college, did some traveling, and then I was like, okay, now what do I do? So by sheer accident, I ended up at an agency or doing a traineeship with Google Ads, and I started to enjoy it. But what would you say to people in a similar situation as me, as I was 7 years ago, 23, 24, fresh out of college? What would you say to them if they're starting their career? Doesn't necessarily have to mean like that they're in a Google ad, pursuing Google Ads, but just like, people thinking about what do I want from life? Because you have done so many different things, and you ended up where you are right now, but you wouldn't have been here had you not set all those steps earlier on. So what would you say to people at the beginning of their career?
I would say find something that you love doing, and see if you can work in that area, or set something up yourself, because there's so many opportunities now. But years ago when I first started, a job was for life generally, and I know so many people. I've got friends I went to school with who, and one in particular, she's worked in the bank all her life. That's it. She's just, she's gone up and everything, but she's always just worked in the bank. Not just, but, I'm sure she's very good at what she does. But for some people, that's what they want, It's never been what I want. I like change. I thrive on change. And if something's not working, then try something else. But get as good as you can at what you're doing. So, yeah. But yeah, just go for it. Just go for it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. And find people who are doing what you want to do. The other thing that is indispensable now for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, is ChatGPT. Ask it, tell it, what you like. Now I've banked up so much in mine. It knows me. It knows me.
Yeah.
I don't like calling it, but because it's like it really helps boost your morale. It's amazing. But but if you put stuff in, it's looking all over the internet for signals for whatever. Say, look, this is what I'm interested in. I don't know where to go. What do you suggest? Where can I go? What different things could I do? Where would my skills and knowledge fit? Because working is quite a big part of your life. And when you're in a job that you don't like, and I have been, it's not nice. It's not nice, So
absolutely,
we're only here once.
Yeah, and so right now you're still living on a boat, right?
We are.
You said you're maybe thinking about like, are we at the end of this boat life? But you did that for 12 years, which is super long. Why did you do that? In the end, like, how did you end up living on a boat for so long?
So it's my husband, my Kiwi husband. So he's from New Zealand. He lived on the east coast of the North Island, a little place called Gisborne, which is paradise. It's beautiful. And that's where I emigrated to. It's a long story. So that's where I emigrated to with no intention of coming back to England. And then I met Barry in 2017. I was coming back to England. I used to come back every year. My children were here, grown up. Yeah. And I said, why don't you come back with me? And he was like, oh, I can't do that. I'm self-employed. He's a professional photographer. I can't afford to do that. And I said, well, I'll pay for you to go, and he said, well, I'll go on one condition. And I said, what's that? He said, is if we can have a narrowboat holiday. I'm like, really? Why would you want to do that? So I said, okay, well, you can plan that and you can pay for it. But if that's what you want to do. So we did with my mum and dad. It's quite funny. My dad fell in the canal and all sorts of things. We did that for only 4 days, but Barry was hooked. He'd been to England in 1976 and seen canals and loved them. Hadn't even thought about it before since then, but New Zealand doesn't have canals. It's a very unique part of the UK's history. Not long after that, a friend of his said to me, did you know that Barry is thinking about or talking about going to live on a boat in England for 6 months? And I'm like, no. So anyway, long story short, we did that for 2 lots of 6 months. And then because I wanted to leave midwifery, because my parents were getting older, I had a grandchild over here, and we wanted to get Barry's visa so that he could stay for longer. So that's how we sold our house in New Zealand, bought a boat here, and we've been here ever since. Lots and lots. There's lots of information that I've left out, obviously.
Twists and turns.
It's a long story.
Of course.
Yeah. But in the meantime, living on the boat, it's quite hard to earn a sustainable income when you're moving around all the time. So as you can imagine. So that's another reason for trying different things.
Yeah, for sure. And then that's the beauty of this time now with remote work being possible. And you just need a computer and a working internet connection. And then you can sustain a lifestyle like that. Look at Bob. He lived in his camper van for 1 or 2 years with his wife and dog. And all you need is some Wi-Fi and a phone. Technically, you don't even need a computer. It makes it easier, a laptop, but you can also do it on a phone.
Which we did. Cool. We went to New Zealand in August 2020 for a year, and we bought a camper van and travelled around New Zealand when there were no overseas tourists. Yeah, and I would sit at my laptop looking at Mount Cook in the distance thinking, I've got the best job in the world.
Yeah, so nice. I'm going to talk to you off camera about New Zealand, but we'll get to that. I'm going to go there next year. We were planning on going there next year, so
Cool.
it should be a dream coming true. All right, so let's transition a little bit into the PPC Hub, because you mentioned that your tip was find a tribe. I was kind of laughing because I reread your introduction in the PPC Hub, and you said, actually, I don't know if I wrote down the exact quote. No, I don't think I did. I wrote it in the Friday roundup last week. Was you said, yeah, I'm not sure if I have the time, but if I do, then hopefully I can get value from it, and then I'll probably stay for a little bit longer. Well, you ended up staying with us, so I assume you found your tribe, or at least found a place that can help you in that journey, towards mastering your craft, and especially now as a freelancer, you're on your own. How has the PPC Hub benefited your career since you joined last year?
Okay, in lots of ways. So the training modules in there. So there's the Search Mastery, there's the PMAX. I was looking at paying for the PMAX course, and then I thought, well, why don't I just join, because it's all part of it. So, but also things like the FICA meetups, which is now Matcha, I think, isn't it? Chatting to different people around the world, looking at how different people are working in the PPC world, having being able to just put a question in and somebody's going to answer it, more than one person generally, so that you get lots of different viewpoints, which is brilliant. The Google Ads Success Path, which has got a lot of stuff in from the courses that I'd done previously, but it's still consolidating on that, isn't it? And yeah, although it was very intense, so much. Oh my God, there's so much in there. I don't know how Bob and you find the time to do all that. It's just incredible, absolutely incredible. And so, yeah, trying to fit. I had my little earbuds in when I was in New Zealand, listening to, for we've got a grandson over there as well, and different, trying to fit that into everything else. But just brilliant, and having that as a resource. It's the resource of knowing that so now I'm building a new account, and so I'm going back into things and thinking, oh, well, now where's the template for that? Where's the template for the RSA? So I can build the RSAs and just put it straight into the Google Ads editor. So easy. Well, not easy, but saves time. Just don't go away, because if I didn't have all that resource, there's no way I could download it all. I don't know what to do. No, it's great. And also LinkedIn, I think, as well. I didn't do LinkedIn. I'm not that much about it too. I don't do like regular posts, but then I'm not looking for clients at the moment. So,
right.
But finding different people there as well. From your posts, from different people, and then obviously people now, because I have posted quite a bit, people then want to connect with you, so you build up those connections, and so
awesome, great to hear that, and that's definitely the core of the PPC Hub. Actually, I was talking to Lowell before this, and it's already almost 2 years ago since we started building it. Yeah, and it's constantly evolving, and my main goal is to now also shine a light on, this is why I created this segment, shine a light on the stories of the people in the PPC Hub, so people can continue to inspire each other, and that it's not only, you listening to what I say or to what Bob is saying, but include the others in the conversation, and so that people can learn from each other, and that we are not always needed to, we can facilitate meetups, but we don't always have to be there, because sometimes it's also better if we're not there, because then it becomes easier for people to just find each other. So hopefully, people will get to know you better through this episode, through this conversation, and then they will maybe be more willing to reach out to you for help, and they can help you, but also that they are more comfortable sharing their story. That's what I loved about this conversation. You've been super open. You've been honest about your life, about the challenges that you're facing now as a freelancer, but also on how that has benefited you. So it's been an inspiring story for sure, and I'm sure that's the case for many others as well. So just wanted to say, Sandi, congrats on the recent success through moving to freelance, but also taking those clients with you. I think that's a big win that shouldn't be underestimated, because the majority of those clients could have said, yeah, we're going to go somewhere else, but they trust you to do the work, and they didn't trust the agency, they trusted you. And I think that's massive. And also thank you for always sharing your challenges and your wins with the PPC Hub, because that inspires people to feel comfortable to also share what, because everyone has so much experience, but not everyone is comfortable sharing. So with that said, one final question. If you had to give a PPC expert one tip that could improve his or her career, what would that be?
Okay, well, I think, because I've talked about a number of things, so I think probably building connections. So the PPC Hub, that's a form of networking, but also building connections with people like I've worked with webmasters, marketers, who know that I'm now freelancing, and so I'm getting them contacting me, and I will get clients from them, because a lot of the clients I already have are people that I had through their referrals. So yeah, get out there, network, and build connections with people who, because you can then, I referred a really lovely website designer. I referred a friend who used to be on a boat, who sells lots of hippie clothes, but she's now in a house in Wales with her husband, and they travel around in a van. So she wanted a website looked at, and the website designer who I've worked with, she helped her redesign a website. And so it's a sort of reciprocal arrangement. So network and build connections.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we'll conclude it there. Thank you so much, Sandi, for coming on. Thank you everyone for listening, watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And Sandi, you mentioned you're not too active on LinkedIn, but I guess people can just find you on LinkedIn, right? Or if they want to reach out, how do they do that?
Yeah, on LinkedIn, or we do have a website. I am building a landing page. It's not quite ready yet, but we have got a website, which is 𝗵𝗲𝗄𝗃.co.uk, which tells all our stories as well. So if anybody's interested in that.
Cool. Yeah, definitely check that out for some inspiring boat stories. Okay, once again, Sandi, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the PPC Hub. All right, that's the end of this episode of the PPC Mastery Podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you don't want to miss any future episodes, we're going to be back next week. Then don't forget to subscribe and share with a friend, family member, or a colleague, because that's the only way we can grow this show. Now, there's two more things I want to share with you. If you want to take your Google Ads game to the next level, the first one is, if you want to get advanced Google Ads tips delivered straight into your inbox on Mondays and Fridays, head over to ppcmastery.com/newsletter to subscribe to our newsletter called the PPC Edge. And next to that, if you want to really take your skills to the next level and become the best Google Ads specialist you can possibly be, then consider joining the PPC Hub, which is our coaching and community platform for experienced Google Ads specialists. You can find everything about it on ppcmastery.com/hub. And with that said, I'll catch you in next week's episode. Peace.